Hello! Now, between you and me, I think we know that a lot of the stuff about folk songs and traditions having deep roots in pagan rituals was made up during the last century. But hunting the wren might be one of those traditions that has stronger echoes or traces of ancient ideas. But if we look at what's left of hunting the wren now, it's mainly the songs really, and if there's any sort of activity, it's largely an excuse to dress up and sing for money around the pubs. If we look at these pictures taken on Boxing Day, St Stephen's Day, just a couple of weeks ago in County Wexford, we can see there's not much actual hunting going on, and indeed the interpretation of what counts as a wren is, we might say, rather generous. The wren tradition is most strongly associated with Wales, the Isle of Man and Ireland, but the records show that it was reasonably evident on the west side of England, with an outlier tradition in Essex. Hooray for Essex. But let's have a sample of music from the Isle of Man.
How we comes to Robin the Bobbin, how we comes to Richard the Robin, how we comes to Jack of the Land, how we comes to everyone. With knives and forks is Robin the Bobbin, with knives and forks is Richard the Robin, with knives and forks is Jack of the Land, knives and forks is everyone.
The wren, as perhaps you know, is the king of the birds, allegedly resulting from a cunning trick whereby the wren hid in the eagle's feathers and then got on top of the eagle's head and emerged to say, I can fly higher than you, I can get further than you can. And it's regarded across much of Europe as a bird to be venerated and protected, and there's an interesting tension there between the wren's status and the need for it to be sacrificed in some way. So in some folkloric and religious traditions, that which is most highly valued also has to die. Alternatively, the hero flips over into becoming a villain or traitor, and that's present in the following explanations of the tradition offered by the Vicar of Charlton, the Reverend Charles Swainson, writing in the 1880s. There are several traditions as to the origins of the custom, one being that St Stephen, when being brought to execution, was escaping from his sleeping jailers when a wren flew onto the face of one of them and woke him. A newer version, the Reverend goes on, relates that on one occasion James II's forces were on the point of surprising King William's army early in the morning, when some wrens, probably attracted by the remains of the preceding night's repast, alighted on the head of a drum that had served as a table, and the noise of their bills in the act of picking awoke the drummer, who instantly beat to arms, and King William's army avoided defeat. The wren, accordingly, has been a prime favourite of the Orange Party ever since. A more Freudian explanation was offered by the late Roy Brown of Bowling Green State University in 2001. The answer lies bound up in the knot of human motivations in love and hatred, which drives us to create objects of love and reverence, and kill them for food or other reasons. Despite all this theorising, this tradition of parading a wren or a representation of a wren around the village does seem to connect rather strongly with what the cynic, or maybe most of us, would regard as just an excuse to ask for money. And I'll finish with a late 19th century County Cork text that makes the extraction of cash rather explicit. Thank you for listening. The wren, the king of all birds. St Stephen's Day, he was caught in the furs. Although he is little, his family is great. So I pray you, good lady, to give us a treat. Sing holly, sing ivy, sing ivy, sing holly. To keep a bad Christmas, it is but a folly. And Christmas comes but once a year, and when it comes it brings good cheer. Shake, shake, shake the box, all silver and no brass. Come on.
Come on with the money, mister, or there'll be bad house we'll be singing.